Today we're going to take a look at Red Dead Redemption 2, a video game that I actually like. And no, not the online mode. You couldn't pay me to play the middle child of game modes. Then again, I don't get paid to make these videos either, so never mind. The story of RDR2 on the other hand has substance. I enjoyed it so much to the point that I decided to replay it from the beginning despite having multiple saves from each chapter. Mind you, I still made this decision despite all three of my controllers being one step before foobar. This controller has low-key stick drift, and you'll notice it when you're navigating through a map or trying to stand still. This controller has a sticky left trigger, down on the D-pad doesn't work, and the left stick is also mildly possessed. Unfortunately for me, it's the best one I got because, well, guess what's wrong with this one? Despite the crappy controllers, I'm sure I'll be able to get through it without much issue. I mainly want to make fun of the moments where the video game logic creeps in. At one point, you're engaged in a cutscene where a character is expressing how vulnerable they feel, but at another point, you're wondering how a gang that consistently levels every town they've entered is staring at a noose within the first week. By the way, this will be an informal review. I'm not really the type of guy to talk about looking at a movie through an imperial lens or something. I received a D- in cinema studies, okay? Whatever, let's get into it. A group of outlaws are traveling through a snowstorm to find shelter after a botched heist. A botched heist in a Rockstar game? What are the odds of that happening? The Vanderlyn gang consists of Dutch Vanderlyn, Hosea Matthews, Javier Escuela, Bill Williamson, Micah Bell, Charles Smith, Sean McGuire, Lenny Summers, Jenny Kirk, Davey, and Matt Callender, never mind those three are dead, Karen Jones, Tilly Jackson, Mary Beth Gaskill, Uncle, Abigail Roberts, Susan Grimshaw, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people here, Simon Pearson, Leopold Strauss, Orville Swanson, Molly O'Shea, and Arthur Morgan. John Marston comes in after you find them smooching some wolves. After robbing a train, the gang sets up camp near a town by the name of Valentine. They have to keep a low profile because the Pinkerton Detective Agency is trying to arrest them. So how does Arthur keep a low profile? By getting into a bar fight within the first few minutes of entering town. To be fair, it wasn't his fault, but he did kick a guy in the nuts and gave him some brain damage. Luckily, before Arthur was able to snatch this guy's soul out of his cracked skull, some farmer intervenes.
Stop! Stop! Please! Please! I beg you, stop! Come, sir. You won the fight already. Surely that's enough.
What business is it of yours?
Hey bro, watch your cough. While Arthur and the homies were making friends in Valentine, Micah got arrested in Strawberry. You were told to break him out of jail and you don't really have a choice. Two things to think about here. First of all, Micah's a bit of an asshole. He will be a bigger asshole later in the story, but we'll get to that later. Second thing is, after you break him out, you get into a major shootout. I mean, you turn the entire town into Swiss cheese. Arthur and Micah end up stacking bodies on top of bodies on top of bodies. You would think that the town of Strawberry would be no more, but if you come back after completing some missions, the town is back up and running as if two guys didn't just decrease the town population by 95%. Maybe there's a bunker or something. All I know is that this is not the last time this happens. When Arthur returns to camp, Strauss tells him to collect some debts. This is where the coughing man returns. Arthur pays him a visit and an ass whooping.
What's not to understand?
Gross. After robbing another train, Arthur and John engage in some sheep herding, but all of that's uneventful, until Marston gets caught and held at gunpoint along with Strauss. Hell, it's only been a couple of missions since we shot up a town, and that means it's time to shoot up another one. And this is what I was talking about when I brought up video game logic during the intro. Every major town you visit will be shot to hell and back. You would imagine that after shooting up Strawberry and Valentine, other towns would be notified of the gang of demons running around and painting the streets with blood. But all it takes is a couple of days / missions later, and everybody has already forgotten about the Great Massacre of 1899. I guess during the 19th century, the average citizen had room temperature IQ. What's next? You gonna rob their bank with little resistance? Yes, that's exactly what happens. But before that, the gang relocates near a town called Rhodes, and Dutch, the leader, concocts a new plan that involves some of the gang members becoming deputies and getting involved in a family feud. Dutch is using the max strategy of playing both sides. That way, you can always come out on top. It's a great strategy when you think about it. The USA likes to do. Okay, that is not supposed to happen. Side note, it's hilarious how the enemies in this game are only able to hit their shots in a cutscene. Once I gain control of Arthur, they lose their ability to aim. Oh hey Lenny. Anyways, turns out the gang's plan to make a lot of money has reached a roadblock. Again, Also, another town is in lockdown because of the Vanderlyn demons, and you know what that means, it's moving time. It doesn't help that the Pinkertons are getting sick of their shit, but instead of sending multiple agents to the camp and giving them a taste of their own medicine, Agent Milton and Ross try to talk to them. They're like, alright, listen, we can excuse the robberies and the murdering as long as you give up that funny mustache man. And they respond by saying, no, and now the Pinkertons are going to kill everybody. So before any of that happens, the gang needs to get that undisclosed amount of money and leave the country. I guess this would be the best time to talk about Dutch's psyche at this point. Dutch is not doing so well considering every time he makes a plan, it blows up in his face. He would have gone full Ice King if it wasn't for Hosea being the voice of reason. Of course, Arthur also tries to tell Dutch that he's smoking crack whenever he can, but it often falls on deaf ears. Hosea, on the other hand, can at least make Dutch reconsider his actions. Without Hosea, Dutch will be unhinged.
No!
Well, Hosea is dead now, so that's not good, and after this point, it's all downhill from here. They shot Lenny too, outside of a cutscene, so that's how you know shit's hit the fan. This was supposed to be a quick in and out bank robbery. The gang comes in, they grab the money, and they get out. It's not like they were robbing a bank in a highly developed town with the most police officers patrolling the area. Okay, maybe we should have thought this through. I also just remembered that Arthur, along with Dutch and Lenny, lit up the town just a couple days earlier, or a week ago. I don't know, it was recent. At this point, any building that handles money should be guarded by at least 20 Pinkerton agents. Then again, I don't think you could trust these guys either after what happened in this mission. Yeah, they were able to stop a bank robbery and clap 2 Vanderlyn members, but then they lose the rest of the gang despite having the entire town in lockdown. Bro, look at Arthur and Dutch in a train cart. My guns are sticking out, clicking and clacking while Dutch is trying to initiate a staring contest. This is hilarious.
Hey, I already checked the trains.
You did?
No more than a quarter hour ago.
Are you sure?
Sure.
You gotta be kidding me. We somehow escape via boat and wash up on Guarma. Not a lot of time is spent on this island. All you need to know is that this is one of the only times that a character has crossed paths with the Vanderlyn gang and benefited from it. Their good deed was rewarded with a trip back to the United States. I'm surprised the captain didn't drop Arthur off back at Saint Denis. Cause I can assure you that both the city folk and the law have already forgotten about the day when a building blew up, then some assholes tried to rob a bank, but then some other assholes wearing bowler hats challenged them to a game of team deathmatch. I think the funniest part about this whole situation is that Charles decided to distract the Pinkertons so the rest of the gang could escape. And not only did this dude outrun the Jakes while the entire town was in lockdown, but he also came back and successfully retrieved Lenny and Hosea's bodies. After the gang gets settled in a hillbilly murder force, Arthur makes his way back to Saint Denis. We're back again? Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. When Arthur makes his way back to Saint Denis, he starts coughing. The cough is so bad it knocks him out. A stranger picks him up and helps him to the doctor's office. The doctor tells Arthur that he has tuberculosis. He likely contracted it from Thomas Downs, the man who coughed in his face way back in chapter 2. Arthur's probably going to die soon, and after being diagnosed, he reflects on his past memories. From this point onwards, the player is forced to see a character that they got to know and love deteriorate right before their own eyes. It was heartbreaking for most people, and I would be sad too, but when Arthur started coughing, his rifles teleported onto his back, so that kinda took me out of it. Then my horse just starts defecating uncontrollably, and I started chuckling while a man was fighting for his life. And when Arthur fell down, he almost gets run over by a carriage, and I completely lost it. Like, imagine if he got trampled and he died right there. So Arthur has tuberculosis, which is another nail in the Vanderlyn gang's coffin, because he was the only person who had a chance in steering Dutch in the right direction. Of course, it's an improbable task, but now there's no chance in hell that Arthur can try to be the voice of reason when he sounds like he's about to cough his lung out. The gang's camp has also deteriorated. I mean, they went from camping on a plateau with a beautiful view to squatting near a cave that was previously inhabited by inbred hillbillies. But all of that doesn't matter because there's one last heist. The first heist was a train robbery, so it's fitting that the last one would be a train robbery. The plan goes as follows. Step 1, blow up the railroad bridge. Step 2, rob the train before falling to your doom. And step 3, ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. And that's exactly how it ends. Okay, no, what actually happens is during the robbery, John gets shot and he falls off the train. This is very shocking. The fate of John Marston is completely up in the air. It's not like he appears in the previous Red Dead, which takes place years after this game. Besides that, the robbery was successful, but afterward, the gang is informed that Abigail Marston was kidnapped by the Pinkertons. Dutch is like, damn, that's tough. Anyways, this leaves us with Arthur and Sadie. It's all you really need, to be honest. Sadie joined the gang back in chapter 1 when Micah burned down her farm like the good Samaritan he is.
You killed my husband! You burned our farm!
Okay, I guess that wasn't Micah. Maybe she was talking about her other farm or something. Whatever. Before the train robbery, she avenged her husband, and now she's just happy to be there for the time being. Her plan of rescuing Abigail consists of Arthur sniping from a watchtower while she takes an army of Pinkertons head on. I can assure you that this is the best plan ever due to how Sadie recently inducted herself into the Too Angry to Die club. Even when she gets caught, there was no doubt that she was going to be fine. See? Look, these two assholes decided to tie her up and call it a day. Shot one of them so badly that his bowler hat phased through his skull. After Mohawk Man spills the beans that Micah is a snitch, Abigail spills his brain juice all over the floor. Arthur says, I gotta tell Dutch about this, which is funny because he's already seen countless examples of him being an asshole, including a time where he left him to die, so I'm not too sure if this guy's worth reasoning with anymore. But nonetheless, Arthur pulls up to the camp and tells everybody that Micah snitched, and of course nobody believes him, except for Miss Grimshaw, the camp administrator.
Dutch!
John?
You left me! You left me to die!
And John too? Holy shit, he's alive? Who could have seen that one coming? During the standoff, Javier alerts the gang that the Pinkertons are approaching. Miss Grimshaw gets distracted and Micah says, ooh, a free kill. And Dutch responds by saying, alright, who's with me and who's against me? As if he blanked out during the last 30 seconds while an OG Vanderlyn member gets killed. I completely understand that this man is way past the point of caring about most of his gang members, but it is quite amusing how he brushes off an obvious example of why he shouldn't trust this douchebag. Anyways, the Pinkertons arrive and they start busting shots. Out of curiosity, I try to shoot Dutch and create a time paradox, but it didn't work, so I guess we should just escape or something. And after we leave the cave, we try to escape on horseback, and god damn it, man, they shot my horse. I can't even use Horse Survivor.
Come on, brother. Let's go. Come on.
After you say goodbye to your horse, Arthur tells John about the money stash that was left in the cave, which gives us a decision to make. Either you can help John get to safety or return for the money. And I guess this is the best time to talk about the honor system. Basically, if you perform positive actions, your honor goes up, but if you perform negative actions, your honor goes down. So shooting innocent civilians will make you a bad guy, but saying hello to 3 people will make you a good guy. Got it? As you play the story, there will be points where you get to decide if you want to make the honorable choice or the dishonorable choice. This is the last one you get to make. Now, when I originally drafted this video, I had an issue with these choices because at face value it was kind of stupid, but then I realized that there were people out there who unironically played and finished the game with low honor the first time around. The developers knew they had to give the player one last choice to help solidify the character arc of Arthur, and they set you up with some ambiguity. Otherwise, you'd be probably disappointed if the game made the choice for you based on your past actions. Although it is kind of funny that you can choose to leave John despite having high honor. Think about it. Arthur Morgan, a man who helped his ex-fiancée on multiple occasions, gave money to a church, assisted the Wapiti Indians behind Dutch's back, truly an honorable man. And when he's forced to choose between helping his brother or finding his stash of money, he chose the money. Like, yeah, Arthur, get that money. And then what? Of course, I decided to abandon John for $42,000. God damn, that's a lot. Shit, I gotta pay my student loans. Anyways, Micah jumps on Arthur like a prime Rey Mysterio and a good old knife fight begins. The camp is on fire, the music is intense, and there are 2 men fighting to the death. And all I'm thinking about is, where the hell are the Pinkertons? Whatever. Dutch pulls up and he's like, what's going on over here? And Arthur tells him again that Micah's a snitch, and Dutch is like, yeah, that makes sense. And then he walks away. Micah grabs a sack of money and exits via cave, while Arthur sits up and watches the sun rise for the last time before succumbing to his tuberculosis and his wounds. The ending depends on your honor, but either way, this is the end of Arthur Morgan's story. The game does continue with John airing Micah's ass out, but that's about it. Now let's get to the conclusion. I'm gonna get this out of the way just in case you think I'm being a dick. I'm okay with the idea that you could re-enter towns just by blasting the hell out of them in prior missions. Enjoyment is an integral part of playing a video game. I'd imagine it wouldn't be fun if both the law and the townsfolk had actual brains. Although I wish they lacked the ability to notify the sheriff that a train is being robbed telepathically. I do have to say, for a prequel, Red Dead Redemption 2 does a great job of making players care about a protagonist that dies at the end of the story. It's quite a difficult task really. Most Most of the time when a retcon happens, players start asking so many questions about the continuity that they slowly stop paying attention to the story that's being told. At least in this case, Arthur not being mentioned in the first Red Dead could be excused because Arthur said it would mean a lot to him if John doesn't look back, and that's exactly what he did by never mentioning Arthur. Okay, we know the real reason is that the developers didn't think about the character of Arthur Morgan until Red Dead Redemption 2 came along. A character with such an impact on what's left of the Vandalin gang would probably be brought up at least once or twice, but all of that can be swept under the rug. It may not make any sense, but that's okay, because Rockstar prioritized shit like giving the player the ability to shape Arthur's character. See, a lot of developers out there try to flex that the choices you make in their game will affect the story, and I have my own issues with games that flaunt that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it in a future video, or videos. It's probably going to be a couple of videos. On Red Dead Redemption 2, you can either make Arthur a noble cowboy who puts others before himself, or a part-time scumbag who's in denial of his terminal illness. And the final choice is a cherry on top. It also helps that there's so much fun shit to do. I just don't understand how this kind of depth didn't transfer over to the online mode. I mean, I know why, it's just kind of sad. But that's all I gotta say about Red Dead, so I'll catch you later.